Okay, round two, board three. In Austria, we have Bill Hackenbracht from North Carolina. England, we have Farren Jane from Austin, Texas. France, we have Tommy Anderson from Massachusetts. Germany, we have JJ Raymond from Santa Monica, California. Italy, we have Mehmet Alpaslan from New York. Russia, we have Zach Moore from Minneapolis. Zach being one of the co-founders of the Diplomacy Broadcast Network. Turkey, we have Melinda Holley from Phoenix City, Alabama. Brandon, you are joining us most recently, so anything stand out to you about this board?
Yeah, there is a lot of firepower on this board. We've got Bill Hackenbracht, who has made a lot of top boards at World Championships and definitely has a strong reputation in the hobby, and is a sharp player. He is definitely somebody who is not shy about sticking the knife in. So there are usually fireworks where Bill in Bill's wake. You've got Tommy Anderson, who's quickly developed a reputation as being a charmer, but somebody who's able to use that charm to direct things the way that he wants. And then Zach Moore is a strong one. So he's a little hit or miss. It's a little bit of sink or swim with him, but when he swims, he really he outpaces people. So this is a fun board, and Melinda is capable of doing a lot of damage. Mehmet, we saw in the earlier games that we called, is an alliance player and an unapologetic one, but that can really work well in this, especially in Carnage. So I'm excited to see this one, and I don't. I've picked Zach when we've had to choose. I think at the top board at Weaselmoot, Zach was my pick to go along. I think he was playing Turkey in that one. And I don't know, man. It's hard to pick against Zach for me, but Bill and Tommy are strong, and there's some other possibilities. Siobhan, what do you think?
I mean, I think if I had to pick someone just based on this lineup of the players I know fairly well, I'd actually pick Tommy at this point. The East is stacked. Russia, Turkey, and Austria are all very strong players that I know quite well. And I think that's going to result in some chaos. And I think that from what I know of Tommy and the charming that you just mentioned, Brandon, that if he can just manage to charm his way through the West, that he'll probably have a chaos in the East to eat up by the time he gets there.
Yeah, I think the big one to watch is going to be Austria. Bill is currently in the top 10. He had the strongest of our second place finishes. So he will need a board top and probably a strong board top to compete for the tournament championship. So he, depending on how hungry he is, and Bill's very frequently hungry, that'll one to keep an eye on. Also, I should mention Bill's joined us as a commentator on DBN several times. Always fun to comment. And then Tommy, number 4 player in the DBNI right now. He is using that charm to his advantage. And I think that's just a testament to the fact that diplomacy is not necessarily a game about stabs, although it is fun for us to watch. It is about relationships. And Tommy's proven that he can find a way to have solid relationships and plays that side of the game extremely well. So let's go ahead and move on to our gameplay. All right, and starting out round 2, board 3. Here we go.
Just quick note, since I did see it commented on in the comment section, this was also known as board 6 briefly because the board 3 from round 1 had rolled over, so they had to rename it for a while. So board 3, board 6, pick your favorite.
Gotcha. So for us, we're calling it board 3, but
board 6. I had a decision to make. Would it have raised more questions to not have a board 3, but have a board 1 through 1, 2, 4, and 5? But anyway, I added board 6 up there in the title. So
gotcha. Thank you for the clarification. And Brandon, why don't you lead us off with some commentary for this board?
All right. The first thing that my eye is drawn to here is the Turkish opening. Turkey does not go to the Black Sea and is rewarded by not having a Russian fleet in the Black Sea, although the reward is the Russian fleet in Romania, which is not necessarily good for Turkey in the long run. unless there is that devilish RAT. And I'm a big fan of seeing it. I'm not necessarily a big fan of being in it. But Galicia gets DMZ'd again. This is the theme of the night or of the tournament. I have never seen so many Austrias be so consistently trusting and getting away with it with the frequency that they are. We have the Venice holds, which nobody likes, none of us. Rome goes to Naples a little curiously. We have the Maginot opening for the French, and otherwise things are standard around the rest of the board.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you pretty much covered it. The lack of bounces in Black and Galicia is just mind-boggling to me that those three players could be that trusting this early in the game. You mentioned the Rome goes to Naples. We see it occasionally, and we often just bring up the point that Apulia is a little more versatile. You can still convoy it if you want to, but it can help protect Venice if need be. So.
And I blame the lack of moves to Galicia on David Hood being such a eloquent strategist. In the most recent episode of Deadline, he covered openings and brought up the fact that he feels like more people should DMZ Galicia, and I think people listened to his advice.
Yeah, just like I blame Chris Martin for the preponderance of the moves to the channel, David Hood can get the blame for the DMZ of Galicia.
It's staggering to me the amount of DMZ Galicias we've seen.
I have to say, it would be an interesting cultural shift if Galicia became the English channel of the East, right? If if DMZing it became the default. It's hard to feel like that would be a stable situation, but it'd be interesting if it happened.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, 1901. Take it away, Brandon.
All right. We see a quick reversal from the Turk in the East, going to Black and Armenia. We see Galicia not staying DMZ'd for very long. That it's interesting to sort of speculate what kind of negotiations led to this kind of arrangement. Clearly, Turkey did not like what he was or she was hearing in the negotiations. Elsewhere on the board, we have Burgundy getting into Munich. We congratulated Wes Ketchum on successfully leaving Munich open, and unfortunately, JJ, sometimes you don't get away with it. It's not fatal, but it'll you do have work to do to figure out what to do next with that. Elsewhere, Zach gets into Sweden as Russia, and the Belgian army or the English army goes to Belgium, presumably for a future funeral procession.
Yeah, and 100%, I guarantee you what happened around Munich there was Tommy, being as charming as he was, said to JJ, yes, of course I'm going to take your support into Belgium, and was just so believable and so sweet about it. And then, as we see, the German made the support order, and Tommy just... kind of like Randy, just I'm so charming.
What do you? I mean, is this good for Tommy though? Getting 3 builds as France can be dangerous in 01.
Early leader syndrome. We always worry about it, especially with England getting 2. Does England say, "Ooh, that's threatening to me," and move to position against France? I don't know Farren as a player very well, so I have no idea what they'll do.
It's interesting that we were just talking about how Tommy wasn't really an aggressive player, but
he's responding by changing his play.
That's a sign of a good player, somebody who can have some versatility in their play. I personally, if I thought I was going to move into Munich, I might have considered moving Marseille to Burgundy. But at the same time, if that's a high risk play, so probably worth covering Spain just to make sure you got something. Siobhan, I'm curious, if you are JJ here, how do you respond to Tommy being in Munich?
I think that I am hurt by this because I 100% believe that Tommy lied to him and said he would take the support into Belgium and then just did this. It feels too early for such a small little stab. And if I'm JJ, I'm working on Farren and I'm saying, Tommy just got 3. This is a big deal. And in all honesty, I believe if Tommy's smart in this moment, he waives one of his builds.
I have to say that little red support order just hanging there just feels sad. It just feels sad.
Like you're like, I was going to give this to you. We were going to be friends. It was a sign of goodwill. And
It's like you've held your hand out to somebody as an offer to join you on the dance floor, and they just walked by it. They just got up, and walked
Just right by you. Not even eye
Every
contact.
middle school that I ever went to. So. All right, so he does not wave. We see Fleet Brest, Army Paris, Army Marseille. If I were Farren, I would be feeling a little threatened. And Farren builds Fleet Eddie and Army London, which I would read as pretty pro-France. So really curious to see how that plays out. JJ builds Army Kiel. Absolutely, you have to. Zach builds Fleet St. Pete North Coast, which is a very strong build in 1901. Army Moscow. We've got double army build from Austria, and Melinda builds Fleet Con. Siobhan, what stands out to you here?
What stands out to me here is this is just proof that the EF was always a thing, and that Tommy went to Farren and said, hey, I'm getting offered support into Belgium. I'm not going to take it. You convoy your way over. You get your 2. I'll get my 3 by walking into Munich, and then we can just roll. Convince me otherwise.
Brandon, you agree with that?
Oh yeah, 100%. I think this is a really skillful diplomatic display by both Tommy and Farren, and I think it could benefit them both. I think you can sell that Fleet Brest pretty easily, actually, especially given that you've got 2 army builds elsewhere. It's much better. As France, you need another fleet. Building it in Marseille slows the EF down considerably. Because now Marseille can go to Piedmont or support itself, or support Paris to Burgundy, something like that, do something more useful, and the fleets can be repurposed for the south. Yeah. The build that stands out to me here is Zach Moore's Northern Fleet build. This is a real high risk play here, especially given Turkey's moves in the fall. You've got Turkey and Armenia and black, and then having violated the DMZ in Galicia, Russia presumably has to worry about Austria as well. An army in Marseille and Warsaw rather would be pretty nice to have right now.
Let's see if that comes back to haunt Zach. Brandon, why don't you lead us off in spring of 1902?
I think Siobhan's turn, yeah?
Oh, I'm sorry, Siobhan. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, sure. It does not currently come back to haunt Zach, because he does get Norway for this effort, which is a little surprising to me, but JJ pulls his fleet north, tries to reposition. The E side of the EF will be a little slower. Brest, as expected, just pulls to MAO. Like you said, Brandon, I think that's easily sellable in an EF. You build the fleet in Bray, you put the army in Marseille 100% of the time. Brest is just as far from Western Med as Marseille is. So, meanwhile, in the east, Russia continues to have problems in the south, loses Romania, loses Galicia. And, Zach, I think that you tried to go too many directions at once.
Yeah, it picks up Norway, but the question will be, will he be able to hold it? Brandon.
Boy, it's a confusing situation in the north. I think the thing that really stands out to me here is that England is not really getting that this EF appears to be heavily stacked in the favor of France. And you have to wonder how long Farren can tolerate that. And so I think the task for Germany and Russia here, for JJ and Zach, is to try to create the conditions under which England will feel comfortable switching directions. You cannot try to eliminate England. That will only keep them on France's side.
Yeah, I did just notice that England lost Belgium as well.
Yeah. So, and I think so. Munich could have tapped Ruhr here. I think that would have been a natural thing to ask for or to offer. But I actually don't think Zach is in terrible shape here. He should be able to hold on to Sevastopol thanks to that Italian fleet threatening Smyrna. And if he can hold on to, he's not going to hold on to Norway. So, but he may be able to survive and rebound.
It'll be interesting to see how Melinda and Bill's relationship ends up working. With Austria being in Galicia and Melinda having armies in position to move north, that's going to be extremely tempting for them to just continue pushing. But Zach's a very charming person also. Could definitely make some action happen there. And my money would be to press on Bill more so than Melinda. So curious to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I have to say one thing that I think that all of us kind of overlooked here is Bill's move into Tyrolia and Trieste.
Yep, I just spotted that.
Venice is now guaranteed, and the Greece to Ionian here suggests that this is not this is not a friendly move of armies towards Italy.
All right, Siobhan, take us through fall of 1902.
Yeah, I mean, unsurprisingly, Venice falls. There was no way around that unless there was a misorder. Around the Black Sea, Turkey manages to hold on to Romania. Russia loses Ukraine. Turkey protects the homeland. Russia keeps Norway but loses Sweden, which is an interesting choice. And England takes Belgium back, so winds up even for all the trouble. The West is a bit of chaos, and the three of them need to sort this out. Are they fighting Germany? Are they not? Let's stop trading these units around.
I actually think the West is. I actually think England and France are fine now. England will get Norway this year. Should be able to pick up Holland. So one of those, if not both of them, should fall here. The question actually becomes, can France make inroads in order to keeping getting the army from Picardy back into Belgium and out of Brest, and not having and getting away with leaving Brest open here. This was all really big for Tommy here. But Bill is kind of the big Bill is the big story for me actually at this moment.
Bill's in a great position.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing will be, how does Mehmet respond? Because France could have a tough time if Bill and Mehmet decide to work together to slow France from advancing. But if Italy's feeling bitter and maybe wants to help the Italian advance or the French advance, that could be problematic for Austria. So.
Bill's build here is really interesting. You make a strong argument for Fleet Trieste here.
Trieste. Yeah, you could.
Let's do it.
Darn it.
Army tree. Actually, I actually think if you're building army, you probably put it in Vienna or Budapest here. Army Trieste is surprising. What do you guys think? I think if you're building Trieste, you build a fleet here, yeah? Especially, I mean, unless you have a sense that you can keep Italy on side. But even then, you might need more fleets.
I would prefer Vienna. Push up toward the center of the board. I don't think you need it in Trieste. I mean, you can push one of them through to Piedmont and backfill?
I don't know, unless you're worried about maybe Turkey doing some funny business and you're just trying to make sure if somebody dots, they don't dot too hard. I don't know.
But Budapest, you put it in Budapest. Yeah, I think okay, so the argument against Fleet Trieste is that your deal with Turkey probably means that Turkey builds fleets, you build armies. But all
right.
I love how slowly and quietly Melinda is growing here. We haven't really given her a lot of attention, but it's kind of amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that's really solid for her. I think that they've got, Austria being in Ukraine, they are going to be able to, if they stick together, break open this position. So
100%.
Spring of 1903. I think it's Brandon's turn this time.
All right, we got a lot of black, quite a lot of black. I immediately am drawn to the center of the board where Austria and Germany have teamed up to pop the French army in Munich. So, so Tommy.
That does get into Munich. I couldn't decide which way that arrow was pointing.
Yep. So Tommy was unable to convert that forward position into he wasn't unable to consolidate his position, I should say, and that may be a significant problem for him going forward. Let's see. Elsewhere, we have the English successfully convoying an army into Denmark, getting another unit into the theater. So that bodes extremely well, while also getting into Holland. So yeah, England all of a sudden looks like the big winner in the EF. See how long that lasts. Elsewhere in the south, we have a little dipsy doodle that allows Italy to get a fleet into Lyon, which almost had an unobstructed path into Spain. But thanks to Paris to Gascony, there is no guessing. Yeah, and then we have Melinda slipping into Greece.
Whoops! How did I get in there?
There's
And
a
also-
chance
and
that
also
was
getting-
agreed, though, because it looks like with the Italian moving to Apulia and Venice, they should be able to take at least one Italian dot.
Yeah, but Melinda's also getting Sevastopol. I mean, Turkey being behind the lines doesn't need more units. It doesn't need to grow faster than Austria. It just needs to grow a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. Whether or not that was agreed upon is a bit of a question mark for me. I find it more likely that Melinda didn't want Bill to grow too fast. And it's easier for Melinda to say, no, I'll take these. I'll put down a fleet. I'm not as threatening. Look at me. I'm in no position to attack you. Will she be able to sell that to Bill is a whole other question mark. I am loving England's position right now.
How about Melinda offering to Bill? Well, I'll just move it through into Albania, and it'll be out of your way.
Oh, it's only going to go there in the spring.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Let's find out if that unit does stay there, and it does. So I believe it's Brandon's turn. Go ahead.
Doesn't just stay there; it supports Eastern Med into the Ionian. So now Melinda has picked up. Well, no, she hasn't picked up 2 builds because
Bill took Romania.
Bill takes Romania. So Melinda will get a build, but also just really has very nice position already in Greece and the Mediterranean and the Ionian. Elsewhere, France takes Tunis, leaving the army that went and never came home. And let's see, England manages to England just converted what looked like an extraordinarily good year into nothing, I believe.
Yeah, we're looking at this position.
Yeah, I mean, Tommy slipped into Belgium, and I want to take a moment and break down the tactics for England around Scandinavia here.
Yeah,
because it just feels, and I can't entirely tell where all of those arrows are going, but it just must have been something that got missed. Because England should not have lost all of Scandinavia.
Let's see, North did not need to be supported. So Norwegian supporting North is simply a mistake. It should have supported Sweden into Norway. Actually, triple support into Norway. That's the right thing to do.
What did Sweden order?
Sweden went to Denmark with support from North.
Okay.
So it's possible that Farren was expecting Tommy to tap Munich here. But if so, I'm not sure why.
This really sounds like everyone charmed Farren, because it also feels like they made some sort of deal with Russia to say, hey, I'm taking Sweden away, just don't take it from me. And Zach said, yeah, no, of course, it's all yours. And England wound up losing everything between Tommy and JJ and Zach.
I mean, look, he's still got good position and doesn't have any like units set up to attack them. So there's a lot of rebound possibility here, but it will be on the rebound.
Oh yeah, I mean, it can take Belgium back in the spring, or in the next season.
Yeah, and can take Sweden and Norway here, and Germany's going to be pulling a unit, I believe, went up 1, down 2.
Yes.
Poor Zach is not getting a build here, even though it feels like he should.
After all of that,
yeah. And France is putting a unit down now, plus a rebuild. So I think France is going to put 2 units down.
We did get Farren in the comments saying that yes, they were very charmed,
Yeah.
which does not surprise me with some of those characters around you.
Absolutely. So, so with all the shifts of centers here, what we end up with is JJ in Germany disbanding in Skag. We have Tommy in France building Fleet Brest, Army Paris, one of those being a rebuild, I believe. Italy disbands the fleet in Tuscany. Melinda builds an army in Cannes, and Bill builds an army in Vienna. Brandon, anything stand out to you?
Let's see. The fleet in Brest, hard not to be excited about that. My guess is that Tommy will probably sell it as heading south, but it's possible that the move to Belgium was not expected or appreciated, in which case we could be seeing fireworks in the north. That would be music to Zach's ears if ENF actually are going to start fighting here. Elsewhere, it's the Army Con, I think, suggests that all is not well with the A&T. So we could have lots of continued messiness, which I think would be fun to watch.
Yeah, and I think it's important to bring up that I was just notified JJ Raymond was replaced by Saren Kwok at this point. Okay. So just keep that in mind when we're doing our analysis. And we will continue on to spring of 04. I believe it's your turn. Oh,
yeah. Hold on a second. Let me change that real quick. I think I can adjust that. Let's see.
But yeah, no, we can fill some time. I mean, I'm loving this game right now. I'm putting Melinda Holley in for like just sleeper growth as time goes on.
Yeah.
Like I haven't played with her in years, but it's fantastic. All the play in the West is really, really interesting. I don't know what season Saren swapped in at, which would be interesting to find out.
Mm-hmm.
Farren was, you were surrounded by some really charming people who get me every time, even though I know it's coming. I'm loving the play anyway, and I'm really excited to see what's coming in the next couple of years.
Absolutely. Not a position that anyone would be disappointed with is England. If I were coming in as a replacement player and that was my position as England, I'd be thrilled. Like that's a decent, it's not as strong as it was, but it's still a great position.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And I agree with you 100% on Melinda's play. This is textbook, patient, slow. This is a great way to play Turkey. So I love it. All right. So let's continue on to spring of 1904. I hope if I click the button. And Siobhan, I believe it's your turn here.
Okay. As expected, Farren is taking Norway back. I think that was only a matter of time. Did Moscow support Sweden? What happened with those Russian moves? Sweden supported Moscow. Okay. Zach, I just want an explanation for some of that later. And meanwhile, Tommy Anderson in France just continues barreling as fast as he possibly can. And Melinda attempts to make some more movements, does get into the Tyrrhenian Sea. Love it. While Bill finishes up the Italian boot. Thank you so much, Mehmet. Unless Bill walks out of Rome, I think it is all over. And I'm missing something here, Brandon. Tell me what it is.
I think it's that. I think it's Melinda's play. I think it's unclear what Melinda has in mind. She gets into Tyrrhenian Sea here, which suggests that she is interested in continuing the AT. Isn't able to advance the armies, but also doesn't really put them in position to stab particularly well. She can still do it. Constantinople can go to cover Bulgaria here, and she can still take Romania. But moving that army from Khan to Bol, that might have signaled it too much. So it's ENF sticking together here. For me, ENF sticking together, A&T sticking together, even though both looked potentially shaky ground coming into this year. That's kind of the big story here. So bad news for Germany probably, and probably bad news for Zach and Russia as well.
Yeah, and it's just gonna be a matter of who gets to the middle of the board first.
Or who stabs their ally first, to be honest. The ENF and AT, if this game ends EF-AT, with like then the question will be who ends up on top, right?
Yeah.
And because in Carnage you need to, the topping the board is not that valuable, but it's the only way to score the most points.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was just saying Bill's going to be looking for a big score coming out of this round, and if I had to put my money on who would stab their ally first, it's going to be Bill Hackenbracht.
Interesting. Well, so really quick then, is this a turn to do it?
No,
unless he can get away. Unless he thinks he can get away with it.
I think it's still a little early to be going there, but
well, 2 builds. If he can get force a disband and get 2 builds,
okay.
We liked England's strong position in the West. They were stronger, if we recall correctly, and then they kind of lost a little bit, but we still kind of liked their position. It was recoverable, I think was the word we used. And I think we all agreed that Tommy had the strongest position in the West. Looking at it with fresh eyes, Brandon, do you feel differently, or do you still agree with that assessment?
It looks basically like that. I see Bill is getting a build here. So did we call this turn? I don't even remember, but kind of doesn't matter. Bill's getting a build here. I think, but Turkey's behind the line. So there's just a real question of who's got the upper hand here. And let's see, France, Tommy is sitting at 7 as well. But England's getting 2 builds. So there's lots. This is a pretty dynamic situation here. And it honestly could go anyway.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, Winter 1904 builds, starting with Farren in England. We've got a fleet in Liverpool, a fleet in Eddy. Continuing to the south, we bid farewell to Mehmet. Thank you for playing. Next, we have Bill building an army in Vienna. Saren disbands the army in Prussia, and Zach's building an army in St. Pete. I think that's all of the adjustments. Siobhan, anything stand out to you?
I mean, nothing terribly surprising to me at this point. This board is coming back to me the more I look at it. We dubbed this one the personality board. Between Tommy and Zach and Bill, you've got just some charmers on this board. And but I don't mind the double fleet build by England.
Brandon, how about you?
I don't understand it. I'll be honest. Liverpool combined with London would have made more sense. Liverpool combined with Edinburgh is a bit confusing to me. I think if you're going to try to fight England here, you should go all the way. And I'm sorry, if you're going to fight France here, you should go all the way.
Well, I mean, isn't the most freaky thing on the board right now the Turkish fleet in Western Med that can sneak into Mao not unopposed, because we do have a fleet in NAF, but
that's a great point. Actually, you can
maybe
I don't think that the fleet in Liverpool is anti-French. I think it's there to help France.
I mean, I think if you're ever going to make that case, this is a time to do it. So
yeah.
So I'm well done for having the opportunity.
I'm coming, I swear.
It's hard not to like Bill's position here, though. I think Melinda may have forgone her opportunity to stab him by arraying her units so far on either side of Austria. So let's see.
All right.
So Brandon, why don't you go ahead and lead us off in spring of 1905?
All right. Munich has an ill-aborted attempt to get to Smyrna in one turn. So it was an interesting idea. That was perhaps a bit quixotic. What's interesting here is that Austria does not support. Or can you actually show us the supports? Does Tyrolia actually try to go to Munich? So, so Bill is making a calculation here that he doesn't need the German army, and perhaps he's thinking that it doesn't matter, or that he can try to get Munich. I don't know. It'd be interesting to know if there was anything going on behind the scenes here that might have given Bill a reason to think that he could. Give up on Germany holding Munich. Otherwise, we have England moving forward against Russia, and France is Tommy pulls the army back to Gascony from Marseille, which is interesting.
I think that fleet spooked them. I'm telling you.
That is, I would have been more spooked by Fleet in London in that case. It's really hard to understand Marseille de Gascony there. That's just quixotic. Elsewise, not a whole lot of surprise. I think so. Bill still retains the stab ability against Austria here, but with units so far out of position, there's not going to be a whole lot of opportunity for follow-up. So this game doesn't feel like it's evolving in a way that is particularly dynamic or will lead to a lot of funny business in the last couple of years. What do you guys think?
The only thing I'll add is I see in the comments, Farren says Bill thought Tommy was flipping and would support him into Munich. So that explains Bill's move to Munich. Go, Farren, go. I think you have the board top right now, if I'm doing my math right. Oh, yeah. No. Okay. Yeah. Go.
But Bill believing that that Tommy, his competitor for the board top, would support him into it, that doesn't make any sense.
I'm telling you, Tommy is very charming.
Right.
I should know better, but I still play with him, and I'm just like, oh yeah, of course he's gonna do it.
But the Marseille de Gascony here, rather than falling with Burgundy, is a potentially major problem. Tommy now needs English help in order to hold on to Munich.
All right, fall of 1905.
All right, so now we do get the dotting of Turkey. Potentially pre-planned, given that Austria supports Melinda in Turkey into a Russian dot here in Warsaw. It's a nice deal for Austria because he is competing with England here for the board top. This will keep him one behind. This will keep him one ahead. So this may be a really nice Turkish alliance gift, basically. Melinda may know she's not going to top, and so she wants her alliance partner to top.
Yeah, we've seen Melinda in a few games now, and I will say if I would describe her play as anything, it would be an alliance player. So that does not surprise me in the least.
Mm-hmm. So let me do my math real quick here. Austria is up 1-9. Farren is up 3 for dotting France.
Well done.
So
juicy. We got competition for that golden blade.
I like it, and I need to know, Farren, was that arranged, you taking Belgium so you could top the board?
But again, it would be a similar kind of alliance offer. Tommy may recognize that he's not going to top. This keeps him even because he's picking up Munich. So why not? Why not? This is one of the things about Carnage, right? Why not let your partner board top? It doesn't change your score at all.
Mm-hmm.
All right, winter of 1905 adjustments. Such a beautiful thing. We've got Fleet in Eddie, Fleet in London, Army in Liverpool. Zach's disbanding 3 units: Prussia, Livonia, and Bothnia. We've got Bill building in Budapest, and I believe that's everything. Siobhan, what do you make of the builds?
I mean, I don't think we have a ton of surprises here. Got confirmation from Farren and Tommy that the Belgium move was arranged. 100%. Not surprised by it. Always love seeing a country build their home or their starting position in one turn. So thank you, Farren.
I thought that looked familiar. Brandon, anything stand out to you?
Just that the game is over. There's England's topping this board, and there's no stopping. So,
all right, Siobhan, you want to lead? Oh, nope, the game is over.
I got it. The game is over. Thank you, everyone.
All right. So, Siobhan, is this the right result?
At this point, absolutely. I mean, yeah, there's some play to be had, but I think they were probably coming up against the time limit, and the 2 alliances basically said, we're going to do our best to give one of our people the board top, and Farren came out on top, and more power to her.
Yeah, congratulations, Farren. Brandon.
Well done, Farren, on a board that honestly was very difficult. There were a lot of experienced and skilled players on here, and you were a relative unknown coming in here, and you mastered it. So congratulations. Well done, well deserved. I think Bill and Melinda could have some regrets here that they didn't take a shot. But everyone else, I think, I think kind of maximized. I think Tommy had this really interesting, fun beginning of the game, ended up not leading to a whole lot, but well done for Farren for being a good ally and for finding the right ways to weasel one's way into the board top without even making enemies. I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I'd like to go back to, I think it's somewhere, yeah, right here, fall of 03. We've got Tommy moving into Belgium. I don't know if this was arranged or not, but it sure felt like that could have been a move against England, and they bounced back. So well done, Farren, for not getting down and pressing on for that win.
Yeah, that season in particular was difficult for Farren because she lost Belgium to her ally Tommy. She lost Sweden to the Russian. She lost various things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think some players could go on tilt at that moment and overreact or panic. And so congratulations for not doing that, and glad to see you rewarded for some good sort of emotion management, if that is indeed what was happening there.
Tommy says in the comments that Belgium move was also arranged. So,
okay. But even so, it's a moment for England where they could have gone, up. They could have built. They could have felt like they were moving towards solidifying their position, and instead, they stayed even, but didn't let it bother them. So congratulations.
Yeah, and that's the kind of play that was rewarded later on. They built that trust, and that trust ended up paying off in the long run.